Yo, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Salvation Elite. We are back with a video, guys, and today, man, we're talking about the beginning or the first day of CDL London. The matches started real early in the morning for us Americans, which is convenient for me because it allows me to get a video out tonight, which is awesome. But basically, the first day of London was absolutely pretty crazy. A lot happened. There were some big matches already today inside of the group play tournaments, and I'm excited to talk about it. First of all, a little bit of self-promotion. Tomorrow morning, on Sunday morning, if you're watching this Saturday night, I'll be streaming tomorrow morning, basically for the end of the tournament, the last like handful of hours of the tournament. It'll just be a nice watch party. So if you guys are free, I'd love to see you there. So we had 4 matches to kick off the day. Obviously, there was 2 pools, Pool A and Pool B, and there was 2 matches per pool that would then determine the rest of the double elimination brackets from each pool. But you're seeing a picture of the format and how it could potentially have played out. But overall, I was really pumped to see what would happen going into this tournament. The biggest thing going into it for me was trying to gauge how good the Huntsmen are and how good Empire were versus the rest of the competition throughout the weekend. So in the first match of the day, the Subliners played Paris, which was a pretty simple 3-1 for Subliners. In the podcast last week, I did talk about how I thought the Subliners could potentially rebound this event and really take some steps forward. And we definitely saw some of that in this match with a 3-1 versus Paris, which, I mean, Paris and Minnesota played a pretty solid event. And so it was good to see the Subliners come out and put on a pretty dominant performance. We'll talk about the Subliners a little bit more in a second, but it was good to see accuracy and temp rebound specifically after their pretty rough performances. And of course, New York as a whole. So in the second match of the day, Dallas versus Seattle. There was a lot of pressure on Dallas in this match to come out and play well. There was also pressure with Seattle as well, considering both of these teams started off 0-2 in Minnesota last week. Obviously, Seattle's matches were so close in Minnesota. This match ended up being a 3-0 in favor of Empire. It was really a rough one for Seattle again. Every single match was pretty close and came down to the wire. I mean, the hard point was close. And then in the search and destroy, they were up 5-2 and then blew it and lost 6-5. So here's a clip of that.
Simp goes out, that could connect here. Sniper in the hands of Billy. He's not going to find anything just yet, but it looks like they could play going down a little closer.
Oh, C6.
Crimsix.
Play. Oh no, it's just starting to get away from them. There's only 2 members now. Seattle left. It's all on the Slacked. No, it's not happening. It's gonna happen. No, Slacked has got a chance now. 1 kill, but they're gonna hound him down. And Dallas close it out like that. You have to be happy.
But yeah, that's a really disappointing Seattle performance. I mean, a lot of people were hoping to see Seattle bounce back in this event, make a statement, show that they're still the talented team. And again, Octane played really well so far. Enable definitely didn't have a good day. You hate to see it. Slack was better than last week, but that's not saying too much. And as a team, they just feel a little bit disorganized still, and it's just not clicking for them at all, basically in any game mode fully. But on the other hand, for Dallas, Shotzi was kind of the guy that a lot of people were looking at, and in this series, he didn't necessarily play great, but they ended up taking the 3-0 regardless, so it worked out pretty well. We'll talk about him more in a second when we talk about the Huntsman stuff. That was a big win for Dallas to give him a little bit of confidence, like, whew, all right, we're not the worst team in the league. We have an ability to 3-0 a team, so that was a very comforting win for Dallas. Then the last of the first round matchups was London versus Toronto Ultra, and London took it pretty handily, 3-1. Overall, the series didn't feel that close at any point. It never really felt like Toronto had a good shot to win the series. Dylan, we're going to talk more about him in a second as well, but them as a squad plus Dylan looking really good. So then we finally get to the biggest match of the day, which was the Huntsmen versus Dallas Empire, a rematch from 2 weeks ago. So in Minnesota, it was 3-1 for the Huntsmen and Dallas took the search. This time around, it wasn't the search, but it was the domination. And in hardpoint, the Huntsmen looked really good. Just like in Minnesota again, Dallas couldn't really touch them in hardpoint. It didn't really feel competitive at all. And you could clearly tell that one team was better than the other. On the gunrunner hardpoint, there was a moment where it looked like Dallas had a chance to hang in there, and then they completely blew it on 2 rotations, and then basically the match was over. There's just some technical play that's just a little bit off right now with Empire, and that might have to do with having, 2 younger, newer players to the scene. Still trying to get a feel for the respawn on this level, but it is a little bit surprising. In this series, though, Shotzi played pretty good all around, and it really wasn't on Shotzi for the losses. Hook was actually the one that really struggled. So the biggest moment in this series was the search and destroy. It came down to round 11 on Piccadilly, and why tell you what happens when I can just show you? Let's roll the clip.
Bomb planted down the 4 versus 4. Here we go. Scump behind the car, able to get a kill as Illy drops. Gunless knows he's got one there, but the smoke is going to come out. Gunless gets some damage in, but can't get the kill. It's Envoy that's going to soar on through, and he's just going to hop it. He's just going to hop it. He's just going to hop it. And that could be it. Envoy's on the bomb, and that's the round. Envoy with the defuse, everybody down, and it's 3 rounds in a row as Huntsmen close it out. Now up 2-0.
But yeah, man, it really felt like Dallas choked that. They should have been able to take that home probably. Crimsix clutched up in a massive round earlier, which really felt like that might have been the momentum shift for Empire. And I thought at that point that Empire might be able to take it home and win the search and destroy, but that definitely was not the case. Huntsmen came roaring back and won in fashion in round 11. Then the domination was pretty interesting because they played on Hackney, which you think would work in the favor of Chicago, but Dallas played a fantastic map. A side is so important to hold, and Dallas did a fantastic job of holding it throughout the whole map. And even though the Huntsmen were able to flip it early, Dallas flipped it right back, secured A, and played a really flawless domination on Hackney. And then going to Petro in map 4, again, man, Huntsman's hardpoint is just so good. Envoy was on fire. Shocker, he's been killing it. And he really slayed out for the Huntsmen this series. Every single player on the Huntsmen looks good.
But they don't have restaurant control either. One player from Chicago already rotated. Guess who? It's Envoy. Always the first one there, it feels like. He's got a one-on-one going down. Able to win it. Takes down Hook.
Every single time, man, he is ahead. Every single time. It's Envoy makes heads-up play, high skill play, play after play. It is all Envoy. It is all Huntsmen.
He's 30 and 12 with almost 3 minutes in the hill. This is an absurd performance from Envoy.
One of the more ridiculous stat lines you're ever going to see in hardpoint. It's Envoy, it's Huntsmen, and they dominate the map 4.
They all show off at moments, and they all have big moments in the series, and it just really shows the talent and depth of the roster versus a good team like Dallas. So the final series of the day didn't disappoint either. It was London versus New York, the winners of their first round matchups, and the Subliners looked really good out of the gate. They played fantastic in the first hardpoint, and then in the search and destroy, it came down to round 11 again, just like the series before, but this time I was on St. Petrograd, and again, I'll just show you. Let's watch.
50 seconds on the clock.
Oh, it's a great play from New York. They chilled out just a little bit there by the side of tracks, and now they're going to make their way around towards that B site. Very slowly, I might add. And again, if they catch the head of Dylan as he moves through the map, this could get real ugly. They're going to cut across. Temp's going to find the kill. They cut right across now. It's a 3v4.
Wuskin's going to be a primary player here. He's posted up. He needs to go big. But it looks like Zero's actually wrapping back around. It looks like they're playing the numbers game, and Zuma's going to slide on in. Takedown rated. And it is a 1v4 for Wuskin with 15 seconds left on the clock.
I like it.
It's a good attempt. I mean, why not?
Oh, big tag. Ambitious to say the least, but the Subliners, they don't let it happen.
So New York took it 6-5 in that series, and then the London Royal Ravens came rumbling back, and the roster just really caught fire. Rated at the end said that he felt like New York was just playing scared, and it worked for them in the first 2 maps where they were just trying to avoid gunfights and just play positioning, just avoid playing fast at all costs. Then they just thought they just turned on the motor in those last 3 maps, and it came down to game 5, search and destroy. So again, here's what Dylan, the absolute maniac, did in game 5.
Semtex and concussions are out. Dead silence pop for Dylan there.
Oh my gosh, Dylan, oh wow. Bit of aggressive parkour. If he checks this right, hello, attach.
Welcome to the Dylan Show! 15 kills, and he ain't stopping now. He's looking for 16. It's just a race. Scraps on 14, and it's over. The London Royal Ravens. The reverse sweep is complete. And you can give credit.
Yep, so Dylan played an insane series all throughout those last 3 maps. Fantastic. He was literally he's like the most annoying player in COD when it comes to how he plays. He just slithers through, finds annoying spots, repositions himself constantly. He'll get 1 kill, pop to some weird off angle, pop another guy, hop up a ladder, kill somebody else, jump. He's like a kid on the monkey bars when it comes to maps in Call of Duty. And Dylan was freaky deaky when it came to search and destroy in this series as a whole. His star power really showed today. So I do have to flex a little because so far my bracket is perfect. This is the bracket that we made during the podcast last week, and I'm still sitting pretty. I had Dallas over Seattle, Chicago over LA, New York over Paris, London over Toronto, then London over New York, and Chicago over Dallas. So at this point now, Chicago and London have secured their spots in the single elimination bracket, basically the top 4 of this event. And then the first matches of Sunday morning will be the losers bracket, working through that, and then culminating with the 2 semifinal matchups of the single elimination bracket. So in the morning, we've got Seattle versus LA Guerillas, which in my opinion, I really do expect Seattle to bounce back and take this matchup. If they don't, oh no, if they don't, they're going to be devastated and they're going to be pissed. And like legitimately, there could be a roster change like in the next week for Seattle if that's the case. Who knows? That's still up in the air. It's a win or go home situation for Seattle and LA, and for Paris and Toronto. So I also expect Paris to beat Toronto. I have that in my bracket, both of those picks in my bracket. So if Seattle wins, they would go play Dallas, and if Paris wins, they go play New York. And then the winners of those matches would qualify for the semifinals, single elimination bracket. So in my predictions, I have Dallas beating Seattle and New York beating Paris, which would mean in the championship bracket, the single elimination bracket tomorrow, that Chicago would play New York and London would play Dallas in the first round. And then I have Chicago playing London and Chicago beating London in the championship. So I'm really excited to see what happens tomorrow. It should be really, really fun. Again, tune into the stream. I'll be live streaming the watch party on Twitch, twitch.tv/SalvationsElite, and I can't wait to see you guys there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and I really do appreciate the support. It does mean a lot to me. I'm trying to talk about Call of Duty full time, and I cannot do that without your support, so I really do appreciate it. But as always, I'm your boy SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. I'm out.